Let's go on to the news for the week of November 29th, 2016. Sorry, the days changed. And I think, and the first news story, this happened this came out last week. And that is that the Rat Queens will return with a new artist and a new number one. Now, I don't think, and Corey would be able to answer this, but I don't think many Image comics have done new number ones before. Like, they've always, okay, the series ends and then that's it. The creator goes on to the next thing. But this is from Image Comics and their imprint Shadowline. It's returning with New Year with a new number one and a new artist. Writer and co-creator Curtis J. Wiebe has recruited artist/colorist Owen Gianni, who he's done Negative Space, Negative Space, Glory, Manifest Destiny, and for what's described as a fresh, soft reboot of the fantasy series. Owen's style brings a return to the high adventure, insane action and character comedy. Wiebe told Newsarama, he has an amazing talent for crafting a world, and when his characters act, they feel genuine and real. Writing scripts for Owen is the most fun I've had on the series in a very long time. Our new start with Rat Queens is getting back to the basics, 4 friends who kill monsters for money, except it's even weirder. This is so cool. This Rat Queens is scheduled to debut in March 1st with the first arc titled Cat Kings and Other Garys. And I'm a big Rat Queens fan. This is one of the comics that I fell into, I think because of Peter Panzerfaust, because of Curtis Wiebe's other book. And just reading this one, I think Corey told me about it as well, but it was really just like seeing this and I'm like, okay, this is cool. Because it's Dungeons and Dragons, your typical fantasy book, but they turn it on its head in that the main characters are women. They're not damsels in distress. You've got a freaking hipster mage type character, or no, the hipster is the dwarf in there a little bit because she shaves her face. She doesn't let it grow out. And I'm like, freaky. Because the men and the women dwarves in this book have beards, except the women are more there's no mustache. It's just the like here down, the cheeks down sort of thing. But I've thoroughly enjoyed the book when they had a break in there. It's because originally debuted in 2013. And they had a break in there when Rock Upchurch, the other co-creator and the original artist for the book, he got into some domestic abuse problems, and so then afterwards they brought in I cannot think of how you say their name. No, one of them was Tess Fowler, and the other one is Stefan Sejic. I do not know how to pronounce his name. It is so hard to pronounce for my dumb American brain. And they took over for the title, and then it went on hiatus after May's issue 16. And he's coming back, or Rock Up Church is coming back for the end. But it's cool to see that Curtis is still wanting to continue on with the story. Like he realizes that there's still a story to tell, and that the fans still want to read the book, even after everything that happened.
So as far as I can see, there was a shake-up because of that change of artists and the allegations in the rooms, standing in the room. So, yeah. Yeah,
Tess Fowler, who had some notoriety beforehand, Corey pointed out the fact that she did fan art for Rat Queens. And that she felt like, there's a quote in here that she felt like she was being pushed out so that Upchurch could return to the book. And both Wiebe and the publisher Image Shadowline refused those allegations and told Newsrama that it was a planned reorganization of the book. In the interim, Wiebe worked on Rat Queen's online shorts with Cecilia Dupe, Mike Norton, and Max Dunbar, and which I haven't read any of those, but I could see it because she did a great job of where it was her own, where Tessa's work, it was her own. It still had the style of Rock Up Churches. It wasn't if you look at the new Archie comic, you can tell, oh, this is Veronica. This is Fiona Staples doing the first 3 issues, and then this is the Annie Wu issue, and then these are the Veronica Fish issues, and now we're in. You could clearly tell that the artist is doing their style. Where Tess, it's I don't know if her style is similar to Rock Up Churches, but it wasn't why do the characters look so different now? You never really had that, which was good, for a nice smooth continuity when you're telling the story. But yeah, I'm excited to see this. I was quickly a fan of Curtis Wiebe's from reading both this and Peter Panzerfaust, and it was sad when, we're putting this book on hiatus. We're putting this book on hiatus. Well, what are you working on so I can read your stuff, man? Those are the only 2 books that I know. And you put them away. But no,
there are real artists at work when they can't keep up with the schedule and deadlines, like Sandman and Juan and other people tend to do that to us fans. Yeah,
that's where I appreciated when I got into comics. Matt Fraction was doing a lot of things. He was doing the Hawkeye run. He was doing Sex Criminals and Satellite Sam and all these other things over at Image, and so it's all right, I fell in love with this, with his writing and with his comedy and stuff like that. And now it's all right, he's got this one book that he's working, or these 2 books that he's working on, they're splitting off months and stuff like that. And I'm all right, this is great. I still got the books. And it's nothing. I'm wait a minute, where's the books? Where's my Matt Fraction? I need my fix of Matt Fraction. That's also because he's becoming a big movie producer, TV show producer with the Milk-Fed Criminal Mastermind production company. But anyways, the next story is some sad news, and that is that Kevin Smith says he's no longer involved with Buckaroo Banzai TV series. Earlier this year, Kevin Smith made the announcement that he's developing the 1984 wacky sci-fi flick, The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimensions, into a TV series. He loosely mapped out the seasons, saying the events of the film would comprise season 1 and season 2 would delve into the sequel we've all dreamed about, Buckaroo Banzai Against the World Crime League. Today, however, and this came out yesterday, Kevin Smith posted on Facebook Live that he is stepping back because of what it seems like the MGM is suing the creators of Buckaroo Banzai, Earl Mac Rausch, the original screenwriter, and W.D. Richter, the original director. And the video is a very lengthy video, and basically, it's Kevin Smith is saying, they're nice. MGM's good, nice people. I don't know what's going on with this. We haven't done anything in terms of production yet. But this is not how I wanted to do things, because it's, both sides claim ownership. Both sides claim, MGM claims that they have ownership. The director and screenwriter claim that they have ownership of Buckaroo Banzai. And it seems like instead of being peaceful like Kevin wanted, and, even having, Rausch and Richter involved in the show, that it was no, give us our property back. This is ours. You don't own it, sort of thing. And that's a little low, a little dirty, and I have to applaud Kevin for this, because where we could look at it as, oh yeah, this is just Kevin Smith talking a big game. At the same time, he's doing this for a good reason. He's doing this because if this gets dirty, if this gets nasty, then it could be held up for a long time in the courts, and it could make it to where if MGM does win the rights, or if Mac Roush and Richter win the rights, that they don't want to work with each other anymore, which could ultimately hurt the long run. I don't know. What do you think about this, Pete?
I heard it first on Hollywood Babylon when he said the whole thing, set it up and brought it to the studio. He pulled all the levers. He was the driving force behind it. So he was into it from the viewpoint of a fan, as he is. And we give him a lot of shit for his latest movies and other things sometimes when he comments, but he's genuine. In these things, I trust him and what he says, that it has merit. And I wasn't that big of a fan of the movie, and still I felt compelled, because having it drawn out in a longer period would make sense, because it was not a rush movie, but there was room for expansion. And
yeah,
it's heartbreaking when you see that studios go against the creators, like they did with Paderas Beagle for the Lost Unicorn and other things like that. That's history repeats itself, but having one voice that stands up and says no to the money, I imagine he would get his family fed for a while with the TV show on its own. Yeah, kudos. It's sad, but it's good on his behalf.
Yeah. I mean, it does sound like, he's doing this for a good reason, not just, oh, well, it's like, oh, I'm not seeing eye to eye with one person in there. It's like, they're not really helping out with this. But yeah, those are all, it's all good reasons. The next one, it's actually good news. It's great news. Even though I am so far behind on the show. And that is, yeah, I know, that's the weird part. That is that BBC has renewed Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency for season 2. This is based on, if you don't know, this is based on the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy author Douglas Adams' books. The show is described as a serialized comedic thriller following the bizarre adventures of eccentric holistic detective Dirk Gently, played by Samuel Barnett, and his reluctant assistant Todd, played by Elijah Wood, as they weave their way through one big, seemingly insane mystery a season, crossing unlikely paths with a bevy of wild and sometimes dangerous characters, each episode landing them a few random steps closer to uncovering the truth. The 10-episode second season will come in and during sometime in 2017, and the season 1 finale airs December 10th at 9 p.m. Eastern and Pacific. Also, it should also be noted that Max Landis, the writer of American Ultra and Chronicle, has penned the adaptation and executive produces with Rob Cooper, who did Stargate Atlantis, Arvind Ethan David, Zener, Ted Adams. There's a whole bunch of other people that are involved with it, and it's Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency is co-produced by AMC Studios, ID8 Media, and IDW Entertainment, with Circle of Confusion producing for BBC America. So yeah, this is cool. This is really cool. I enjoy the show. Don't get me wrong. I enjoy the show. I enjoy Dirk Gently. It's just, you get a point, especially this past week. It's like, I ain't got time to TV. My nerding out is actually what I watched 2 weeks ago. But it's also because I couldn't really go, well, I watched the CW shows. I mean, it's like I did watch them, but at the same time, it's like, we talked about those last week. We can't talk about those again. And it's also like, I'll get to it in a second, because this is one of the shows, because of how quirky the comedy and the thriller bits are, I have to watch it. I can't have it on and be reading a comic book at the same time. It's like I have to sit there and watch. You know, it gets 100% of my attention. So B, I take it you're pretty much you've kept up with it, right?
Yes, and they stepped up their game 2 episodes ago, and from there on it went okay. They're now all in. But for a while, it felt like the first attempt from BBC at doing the show with Steve Mangan in the role of Dirk Gently, and I loved his portrayal. But it felt like a cop-out in various things that you thought that's because of limitations of budget. There, it had the feeling of a bit low-budget production, but I used it wisely when it's necessary, the money, and then put in some special effects that make it the quirkiness of Douglas Adams doesn't work with the traditional narration. It has to have this highs and lows or unexpected moments, and they did that pretty well. Elijah Wood is the only thing that he's not Daniel Radcliffe. Daniel Radcliffe can disappear in his roles, but Elijah Wood is Elijah Wood to me, and that's not. He's a good person, but he will always be I'll say again,
Frodo.
Be Frodo for me, yes, and that's the. Typecasting is a bitch, but yeah, it has all the elements that were in the books, and when you don't pay attention, you said it demands your attention. That's very true, because there's so much happening inside the frame with the Easter eggs and other things going on that are awesome. And the main actor isn't bad. I just don't have the same connections with Mangan or with the character in the book itself. It felt a little bit more like a childish version of a character that appeared childish but was just chaotic mostly.
Yeah, I think, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm actually going to look this up, but I think Samuel Barnett, this is his big I think this is his big break.
Didn't remember seeing him before.
Wait, was he in? He might have been in History Boys, a movie I need to finish for a project I was working on a long time ago. He was in 2012, the BBC show 2012. He was in Penny Dreadful, and then Dirk Gently. So he was in both the film and theater versions of the History Boys. I think that was his first one that had not Jack Whitehall, Dominic Cooper and James Corden in that movie. Yeah, it's pretty good. I found it when I was working at Dollar General. Sorry, I'm laughing because on Wikipedia, for his personal life, it's just he's openly gay. Well, thanks for that. But no, I would say this is from even looking at his. Well, that's the theater, so of course, he's mainly BBC shows, BBC and ITV shows. You know, with this being actually Penny Dreadful, I would say is probably his big American breakthrough, but this is probably the bigger one because of the fact that it's not on a premium cable TV show.
Didn't catch more than the first 6 episodes of Penny Dreadful. It's interesting, but
yeah, he played to
watch.
Yeah, he played a character called Renfield. But yeah, so I mean, he's not bad in my opinion, and it's just he has one of those faces where I'm like, I've seen him before, and it's like, oh well, yes, in the first half of the History Boys movie you forgot to finish, and he's in this and that, and I'm like, oh yeah, there's quite a bit that I've seen him in. And our final bit of news is one that Beat showed me, and I'm like, add it, just add it. I didn't even read it. I just read the headline. I'm like, do it. And this is 10 Cloverfield Lane director Dan Trachtenberg to helm a Harry Houdini biopic. This checks so many boxes where I can say yes, 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 yes. I love Dan Trachtenberg. I'm so proud of him because of the fact that he's one of the guys that got me into podcasting, from watching him, because I watched him on a Totally Rad show. And then when that left and he was, saw he was going to be doing more and more movies, I'm like, all right, sweet. And then he did 10 Cloverfield Lane, and I love that movie. And I'm not a big horror movie fan, but this seems really cool for me. And I didn't realize that a movie had been in the works since 2011. For a Harry Houdini movie with this was back when Dean Parasot was attached to direct, or Paraso, and Johnny Depp was going to play the lead role. This is full on Pirates of the Caribbean Johnny Depp too. So I'm glad that it didn't happen, because I don't think that would have worked out great. But I think Dan's got this great vision that we could see, and it's based off, I should say that the movie is based off of the book, The Secret Life of Houdini, the making of America's first superhero. And so I honestly think, especially depending on who they cast in the lead role of Houdini, that this could be a really great show, or a really great movie. Like just to see the care that Dan put in with 10 Cloverfield Lane, and how it's very Hitchcockian in some of its, like how it's plot and its approach. To see him go into covering a biopic essentially. I know it's probably gonna be one of those that's like loosely based. If it's based on the book, and the book's probably loosely based on his life and stuff, but still, I think this is gonna be pretty cool. What do you think, B?
Yes, there were other interesting Houdini movies that it's more were biopics, and the one, what was the known one that came, was it the Prestige?
Yeah, the Prestige. Isn't that the one with Hugh Jackman? Yeah.
There were some things out there that covered, as I said, his base. This seems to cover more his later time, when he went after the people that pretend to be supernatural and having abilities to talk to the dead, and that part of his life will be more put into the focus than just his magic shows. So yeah, it's interesting because he's kind of like Richard Dawson or Hitchens, the late Hitchens, but he tries to get people with his intelligence. That was a fact many people didn't know about Houdini, that he was not just a showman, but he had many things going on for him. And I'm interested in the material. I'm interested in the person. I'm not Attack of the Show viewer from the old times, so I didn't know about him much. But
no, he was never on Attack of the Show.
Which show was it then?
He was on the Totally Rad show over at Revision 3.
See, that's I'm not into American television that far back, but a different slant, not just from an old school director, but somebody that has a different views, different angle on it, and I welcome every movie that tries something different.
No, yeah, the one thing I will say is, because he was at one point attached to direct Y the Last Man. That was the one. I think he was working on that before he was working on 10 Cloverfield Lane. And then the movie he was attached to a movie beforehand. I think this is more of a project he's working on with himself, with like another writer. It's called Crime of the Century. And that one sort of fell back onto the back burners a little bit too. But I mean, I'm excited. I'm excited for this because I mean, and you'll see with my nerding out. I mean, it's the Black Mirror episode that he directed. But I mean, he does great work. He's a great guy. He's a great guy that does great work. So I mean, that's like, let's continue. Let's get more of him. Let's get him directing more stuff. And also, I think he just had a kid. So come on, he's got to support a kid. All right, well, that is it for the news, and we will be right back.